Right now, from Texas, it's on the House Armed Services Committee, Oversight and Reform Committee, looking at a lot of these developments. And Congressman, when you think of what China's been up to and its provocative behavior, you could talk about, the battleship, replicas, that have been made. A little bizarre, a little intimidating. The threatened air presence over Taiwan, continuing, in fact, speeding up the militarization of these islands of the South China Sea, going after some, what it calls rogue financial firms in China, even if it means harm to China's economy and its markets. What the heck is going on there?
Well, Neil, what China, the regime there has no legitimacy whatsoever, and they're unchecked bullies. And we're seeing what they ran about 150 air sorties into the Taiwanese defense zone in early October. President Xi has said that he's reserving all options on the table for quote-unquote reunification. And by the way, their ironclad claim to Taiwan, the Chinese communists have never ruled in Taiwan. Since 1949, it has been a separate de facto nation. And for them to say that it's, they have all options on the table is just furthering the tension between the United States, and they're not being, a good actor on the global stage.
I was raising it with our correspondent earlier, Congressman, why China would be doing this so soon before hosting the Winter Olympics. Normally, countries that have that, awesome responsibility try to do everything to curry the world's favor, even when it comes to pedestrian issues like a pandemic, and Japan had to try to reassure people, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. This is far from that. I mean, this is the type of stuff that gives some countries pause even going there. What do you make of it?
No, absolutely. And I think they're testing Joe Biden. We saw a, humiliating retreat and evacuation of Afghanistan and withdrawal, and that harkened, to Hanoi, or I'm sorry, in Saigon in Vietnam. And so they're testing Biden to see if he's going to be strong. President Trump wouldn't put up with anything in that regard, and I think Taiwan was very safe then. So they're probing. This is what you get when you have, again, this unchecked bullies, because they have their people so cowed, and with their Belt and Road Initiative, they're cowing a lot of nations across the globe.
Let me ask you about what we do. Let's say it does advance, this Taiwan friction advances to the point that China first starts invading islands owned or at least administered, I think that's the term they use, Congressman, by Taiwan. Would that act warrant a U.S. response?
Neil, we have filed in our office a bill that says that the United States will guarantee the security of Taiwan, because this is about deterrence. What China doesn't want, they do want global hegemony. Let's be really clear about that. But they would prefer it to achieve that goal without a hot war with the United States. So I think the best deterrent, I really feel strongly about this, is for Joe Biden. Heck, he can even call it the Biden Doctrine. It's good policy. I don't care who takes the credit. I just want the policy enacted, where he comes out and says, in no uncertain terms, with no ambiguity at all, that the United States guarantees the security of Taiwan.
We'll see what the administration does, because that's the open-ended question here, whether China has that unequivocal signal from the U.S. that if that's what they broach to do, here's what we would do. We don't really have that very, very clear.